In this video, I'm going to show you everything you can sow now that will still flower this year so that you can keep those blooms going until your first frosts. And I'll do it all for different zones. So I'm going to do 2 months, anything that flowers under 2 months, anything that flowers under 2.5 months, and everything that flowers under sort of 3.5 months, which is about the length of my season. I can go another 3.5 months till sort of mid-October. I can go before my season ends. It's a really good time for starting seeds because of course it's warm, and so it's great for, there's lots of light, so that it's great for germination. So that should even speed things up, get things going earlier. So that could shave off even more time off the expected flowering date of these plants. So just bear that in mind. Also, when you're starting seeds in early spring, winter, the light levels are low, it's cold. So they say things like, 21 days to germinate, but you won't have that issue this time in June, July, because obviously it's much warmer and the light levels are higher. You will, of course, need to monitor the watering more. So let's go through them, and we're going to start with the seeds for those of you with a shorter time period, a colder zone where your frosts come earlier, and that's everything under 2 months. Then we'll move on to the 2.5 months, then we'll move on to the 3 months. And I'm going to have a go at sowing all these, but I'm not going to do that in this video because it will go on too long. I will do a follow-up video showing me sowing some of these seeds, and then, later on we'll see how they do in the season. All right, so let's start with everything that's going to flower between 40 and 60 days. So if you've got a short cold zone, then these are going to be ideal for you. And it's a great idea if you have seeds yourself to just write the days to maturity on the packet that you store them in, so that you can just in a glance see how long these seeds take to grow and whether you can potentially grow them before the end of your season. You need to work out when your average last frost date is and make sure that these plants will flower before that date. So let's get into it. So as you can see, I've arranged these into the relevant piles, and we're going to start with everything that will flower under 2 months. You will see on the packet it might say sort of 70 days, but in this warm weather, because we're sowing now in June, it's late June, early July, really these should, if anything, be beating the 60-day limit and flowering before then. They'll if anything flower earlier than the maximum date. So let's start with nasturtiums, and as you can see, they're 60 to 70 days. I already have nasturtiums flowering in the garden, but this is a different variety. As I said, because of the warmth, they're probably going to beat the 70 days and flower within 60 days. Ditto zinnias. Zinnias are very fast growing flowers, and probably the fastest ones of all are these marigolds. So they are estimated to flower within 45 to 65 days. So you definitely have time. If you have 2 months left of your season, you definitely have times for those. And I should have added calendula. They germinate and grow really fast at this time of year. I've already done my ageratum, and they did in fact grow and flower really fast. So again, they're almost as fast, well, they are as fast as the marigolds, 50 to 60 days. And then you have phlox. And again, you see the minimum time to flowering here is 50 days and the maximum is 70. But in this heat, the warmth of summer, it should be more towards the 50 days. And sunflowers are different because they can be anything between 2 months and then over in the far side, the 3 months. And that just depends on the variety, but some are very fast growing. So do check your packet of sunflowers. So now we're going to go on to the under 2.5 months. So they're just a bit longer than 2 months. And I've got this saponaria, which is Pink Beauty, which I love as a little sparkly flower. The Clarkia godetia, these grow like a rocket, but they haven't flowered yet. My first sowing of these, so I would definitely say they were longer than 60 days. Snapdragons, again, in this heat, they are going to germinate and grow like the clappers, but they just need a little bit extra time to get to the flowering stage. Ditto gypsophilia, which is almost the same as the saponaria actually. Nigella, I probably won't be second sowing the Nigella, but if you haven't grown Nigella yet, you can grow them now and they will self-seed for next year. Ditto with the cornflower. Actually, the cornflower won't self-seed, but they will flower this year. And then you've got these coreopsis, which they're so prolific, coreopsis. They just grow so fast and they're so prolific once they flower. But of all of those, if you haven't got any of these in your garden, I would definitely grow the Nigella, because if they flower now this year, they are going to self-seed and you're going to have loads next year with zero effort. So now we'll get to, if you have a longer season like me, I've got Bells of Ireland. This is 3 to 3.5 months. And this will take me, I've got July, August, September, and probably October. I've got some asters there. Well, they're autumn flowering anyway. Same with the rudbeckia. They thrive in the autumn. So they're perfect to start now. I'm going to have a go at some more stocks because I let my other ones die. I had some that flowered, but I just neglected them. Nicotiana thrive in this, growing in this warmer weather. They don't do so well starting in the cold, so it's a perfect time to start them. I've got some larkspur I want to try again, see if I can get a second flush of those. They hopefully will benefit from the colder weather as we approach the end of summer. And I also have some delphiniums that are supposed to flower the same year, so I might experiment with those. So there you have it, a little encyclopedia of flowers that you can grow now if you still want flowers, if you want to extend your flowering period, because there's nothing worse than, I do this every year almost. I get really excited, I get everything planted out, it all grows well, and then I realise I just have nothing to follow on from that. So I am getting better at following on and extending the season with these flowers. So that's it. If you want to sow any of those, make sure you just check when your last frost is, your average last frost in your zone or area, and then you can decide from the various packets that I've put out there which ones you can do. These are mostly easy to grow as well. These are not complex plants to grow. Okay, I hope that video helped to motivate you to get growing for the rest of the summer. And I'll see you again in my next video, where I'm actually going to be sowing some of these plants. I'm going to do another sowing video because I've got a lot of sowing to catch up on myself. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye.